Meow everyone, hello, welcome back to my channel. Sparkle Star here, and today, since it's like really rainy and cruddy out, I thought that I'd tell you guys about my worst spider encounters. So let's start out at the beginning. Ever since I was like younger, I've always had an extreme fear of spiders. I can probably tell you why. Just the way that their legs are, the fact that their just bodies are so small, like their legs are just like there's 8 of them and they just go really fast, or they go really slow, or they just don't go at all and they just stay there, and then you realize it's there and then you're scared, and it's just any kind of spider. Unless I realize at first that it's there, um, then it will just come out of nowhere and scare me. Uh, so yeah, that's where it originally started. I can't remember an exact age where I started to like fear them necessarily, but I know why I'm scared of them, just their overall shape. I think they're okay bugs, you know? They create these beautiful webs. They eat all these insects. They're just creepy. But without further ado, I'm going to stop dawdling and get into my worst spider encounters. Let's go. So, I think that my first ever bad spider encounter probably would have been when I was really young, about 5 years old, and we had this shed, and there was this little glass door window on it. So like you'd grab it and it would like fold down, so like you could get stuff out of it, or you could go into it if needed. Um, and there was a giant spider on it. Now this was a spider I'd never seen before. It was not a huntsman. It was not a daddy longlegs. This thing, I don't know what it was. It was not a tarantula, however, because I live in Canada and tarantulas don't really live outside of pets anyways. This thing was big, it was white with red spots, and it was a mommy. It had it had laid some eggs that thankfully never hatched, but I don't know where the spider ever went, because it's around the end of summer, and then you go in fall, the spider's not there, probably hibernated, but the eggs are still there, and they just never hatched. They must have froze. But the eggs stayed there for a few years, actually. And I would always think to myself, how long does it take a spider egg to hatch? They're gonna hatch someday soon. They never did. Eventually, I don't know what happened, they just weren't there one day. The eggs were just gone. I assume that they were probably wiped off or something. But yeah, that was probably the first ever scary experience I had with a spider. I'd never seen a creature like this before ever in my life. So I was a little bit creeped out, to say. Now, not all my spider experiences were bad. There was a time I actually had a pet daddy longlegs. I did not keep it for more than a day because of how scared I was of it. Of course, my father, being my father, was like, "Oh, well, it's not that bad. It's not that scary. Here, why don't you keep it as a pet so you can see how it is?" And I'm like, "I don't want to." So, tip. If I don't want to keep something that's like not necessary, I learned to just not keep it. Besides, it belonged outside. It did not belong in my house. The next morning, I got so scared of having it, I had it in one of those little bug enclosures. I actually dumped it off my deck. It did survive. It crawled away into the garden, but this happened around the time I was 6 years old. So I was going through a phase of collecting smaller reptiles and amphibians, like salamanders, frogs, toads, slugs, all that good stuff. And spiders and other arachnids, like daddy longlegs, are not included in all that good stuff. Yeah. Now, in the summertime, I we are a very outdoors like family. We like to do work outdoors, we like to play outdoors, we like to do things outdoors. And it's great. We get fresh air and all this beautiful nature. The bad thing is the nature follows us sometimes back inside, and sometimes the nature follows me into this room, and it can be very scary. One time it was like 2 a.m. and I have like these posters on my wall. Um I would love to show you what I'm filming off of a laptop, and this thing doesn't move. This thing isn't too articulate, but it crawled out from behind one of the pictures or posters, and I screamed. I freaked out, and my mom had to come in and try and get it out, and it was just holding on for dear life until that poster until it fell. And the good thing is, my mom is a spider attacker, killer, daughter saver from creepy crawlies. She is very good at getting rid of them. Now, whenever I can, I will I will take them and I will try and let them outside, back where they belong in nature. But sometimes you just don't think and you just kill them. And sometimes I do feel a little bad because they're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. They don't know where they are. They're probably very scared of me. But still. A recent one that I recently had, the most recent one that happened was I was clearing out my room with like some boxes of things, and I was sorting them out, and a spider was underneath my scrapbook, and when I picked it up, it skittered across my room I have like a beanbag in the shape of a pig, and it crawled under there, and I'm like kicking that thing, and it turns out it crawled behind a white shelf. It is that thing all the way back right there. That's just a thing covering the side of it, but it actually crawled behind there. And then it didn't come out until the next day when I found it underneath a lid of a box. And I think eventually it did die, which is good. And it probably did because that was like a month ago or two. And I'm just glad it's gone because that thing was so scary. And I hate it when they run under things and then you can't find them. And then don't know where they are. And then you're like, oh crap, I'm scared to sleep in my own room. You know what I'm saying? Probably the most embarrassing spider experience I ever had was, as I mentioned before, I'm in the Girl Guides for USA, that would be Girl Scouts, but I was attending a virtual event on how to build your own radio, actually, and it was pretty good. The radio actually works. I could show you guys sometime, but what happened was it was just the meeting was just clearing up, and I saw this little black spider run across my room from underneath the blanket I was sitting on this floor, and I screamed and I grabbed my shoe and I'm like hitting it and I'm like tossing stuff and I'm causing a huge kerfuffle. Glad thing my mic was off and my camera was off too, but still I just felt so out of place while they're all just talking on there. And I'm in my room freaking out, and I'm thinking, what if my mic came on accidentally, or what if my camera came on? They just see this thing just absolutely destroying their room. That was funny, but it was a huge thing, and I eventually did get a hold of it. So, I did good that day. Now for the finale. This is probably one of my best ones out there yet. You see, when I transferred schools after my graduation from elementary to high school, I actually realized that there were a lot more spiders in my new school than there were in my old one. My old one had very rare spiders. There was like almost none. And then there was an overwhelming amount of spiders. There used to be a stairwell that me and a friend group used to hang out under, and that's where they dwelled. There's like those weird spiders that like come out of nowhere. They've got like those like weird like almost teardrop shaped bodies and those very, very long legs. Like, what are they? Why are they there? Like, they come from nothing. Like, I think I call them dust spiders. Like, they're almost like silverfish, because they come from nothing. And they move so weird. They stay still until you blow on them or something. And then they run everywhere. And then there's more of them. You kill one, about 3 others just spawn out of nowhere. There was like a crack in the wall where the stairs come down, so there's like that slant, right? And then there was like a bit of a bump, and then it just continued on slanting. And behind that bump was a crack, and I noticed that there was a spider coming out of it, so I hit it. 2 more spiders followed, and I freaked out. And then I looked up, and there's one right above my head where I was sitting. And I was like, what? I can't sit here anymore. I was done. I ran out of there. Not to mention that they were in the bathrooms too. They'd be like near the walls of the stall. They'd be backstage. That was where I saw one of the weirdest ones ever. This thing had 13 freaking legs, and it was in the corner, and it was scary, and I was going to be in a musical or a play in the theater, in my local theater. I never did go through with it just because I didn't like it, so whatever. So, you know what I'm saying? But I looked up on the wall while I was backstage waiting for waiting for all of our turns to come out. And I look in that corner. Oh, I don't know what else to say. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. I don't know. Mm-mm. 13 legs. I counted them. There were 13, or even more, 15 maybe. This thing was not normal. This thing wasn't even a spider. This was like some sort of. And I pointed it out to one of my stage folks. I was like, what are they called? They're not called assistants. Fellow actors, I don't know. I pointed out to just one of the people who are also going to be in the play, and I'm like, hey, check out that spider. This guy's like an adult, right? And he's like, ugh. Yeah, he had never seen anything like it either. And nobody had. I'm like, Mom, does that spider look a bit weird to you? Because she was also in the play with me, and she was like, yeah, what is that? Everybody was like, yeah, let's just go away from this corner because that thing was just a bit too leggy for me. Ugh. Bonus story. Like I said, not all my spider experiences have been bad. One time when I was in grade 6 and we were preparing to do some testing for the grade, we would just do little math and literacy exercises. Anyways, so there was a spider crawling on my ruler in the classroom as we were about to leave. So I pick up the little guy on my hand and I said, I'm gonna name you Joe. This was before the Joe Mama thing came around, so I was carrying a little guy named Joe, and Joe actually dropped off. For some reason I remember a sponge being involved. I don't know. But yeah, Joe the spider, he just disappeared, and I have no idea where he went. He most likely dropped off, and I hope he found his way back outside. Because that was a sweet little guy. He wasn't like big, he wasn't burly, he was one of those like tiny little ones. Wasn't a jumping spider, but he was just small and cute and yellow. So those are my worst ever spider experiences. If you guys want to hear more videos, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be making more videos. I'm gonna aim for twice a week. So I'm pretty busy, but this just gives me something else to do. Yeah. So bye. Um